Okay, great. So if you have any question during an explanation, please interrupt me. I've shared with you on Slack multiple resources about reference versus value, about the memory in JavaScript, the stack and the heap, a lot of stuff. And also I share a book with you whenever you have time and you love reading, it will be very good. So we studied yesterday pass by reference versus pass by value. I told you pass by value. So pass by value, normally it's applicable for which type of data? Yes.
Primitive.
Primitive.
Primitive data, yes. And of course, pass by reference is applied for object or reference type. Now, when I say object, array is an object as well, huh? So array is an object. So that's the reference type, simple. Or actually, it would be better if I say just reference type. So reference types. Of course, what's that supposed to mean? What does that mean? For example, if I have a const num1, and num1 here is 1, and then after that, I say const num2 is equal to num1. And now, of course, if I load both of them, they will have the same value, 1 and 1. But now here, if I change num1 here, num1, I make it 2, num2, it will not be affected at all. So if I log both of them, as you can see, num1, it will be 2, but num2 here, it will not be affected at all. Is the idea clear, or you mean to show you on the console, or? Hello?
Maybe show us.
Yeah, but here I need to redo this one, so I need to use let, so I don't have an error, because I change the value here. So click. And if I go to testing, I go to main. This example based, it will be nice to study with GStutor. So I'm going to open in GStutor here. So if I click on it, and voila, you can expand it a little bit. And as you can see, this is my console, and this is my scope or the memory. So if I click next, of course, now it will create a new variable num1 in the memory here, in the stack, and it will give it a value 1, as you can see, voila, num1, and we have a value 1. I'm creating a second variable, as you can see, num2, which is equal to num1. Of course, here, because it's primitive type, it will only copy the value. So this one is just like I'm saying num2 is equal to 1. That's it. So if I click on it, as you can see, it says say num2. It does not tell me num2 is equal to num1. No, it's just equal to the value of it. And of course, if I log both of them here, it will give me 1 and 1. And later on, if I change num1, notice here num1 is 1. Now it will be 2. Voila. But when num1 change, the num2 here, it will never be changed. Why? Because there is no relation between them. They are not connected in any way. And that's what we call pass by value. So it only takes a value. And if I log both of them, of course, now num1, it become 2. And num2 is still 1, as you can see. Is the idea clear here? Yes, no?
Yes.
Should be very clear. Okay, that's cool. Now, that's what you call pass by value. Let's take pass by reference here. And pass by reference, of course, is applicable for reference data type. And reference data type, that means it will be array or object. So what do I mean by that? For let's say declare, let's say just for example, let num, no, actually let's declare const both of them. So I have say const, for example, the easiest one, it will be to take it as a number. So I will say numbers like that, numbers 1, for example. Voila. So numbers 1, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here, if I say const number 2, which is a new array here, it's equal to num1. So both of them here now, it will reference to the same array. That means if I now log both of them, so first let's log both of them, num1 and num2, which is both of them are arrays. So let me duplicate this one as well. Voila. So I'm logging them before I change something. And now if I push a new number to num1 and I log them again, both of them will change. Why? Well, because reference data types are passed by reference. That means both of those guys here, they will point to the same array. And that means if I change one of them, I'll be changing the second one. But let's see in practice here. So if I click on it, and best it will be to study it in GS Tutor. So let's go to open again, click it, and expand it a little bit. Let's expand our console as well. So if I click, now here, if I execute this line, it will create a new array in the heap here. And yeah, simply like that, click. And as you can see here, it's create nums1, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, that's simply how it is. Now here, if I create a new variable here, it will not really create a new array. It will just create a new pointer in the stack, but in the heap, it will be the same array. So as you can see, num1 and num2, both of them reference to the same array. That means if I take this guy here, this reference, and I change it, of course, the second one will be changed automatically. So if I log both of them, as you can see, and now when I push 6 to num1, it will be also changed in num2, because simply the array or the object even, it will not be stored in the stack, it's stored in the heap. And both of those are just reference, as you can see. That pointer, both of them point to the same array. And of course, now if I log both of them, as you can see, both of them will change because they are actually related. Both of them are reference the same array or the same object. Is the idea clear? Yes, no.
Yes.
And
Yes.
perfect. Any question? Shouldn't be any question because I'm just repeating what I did yesterday. So we have something called side effect. Did explain side effect as well. So to explain side effect, I will create a simple function. And remember, you have some little bit problem, all of you, on function. Now, you need to understand function are normally two steps. So first, I need to tell JavaScript what is this is a function, and my function need this parameter, and it will do this one, do this one. And when I need to use the functions, then I call it, and I will pass the argument what I want to. So for example, I can just say const, let's say x, for example, it's equal to, and now here, of course, it's an arrow function, as you can see. And now here, I will say that this function here, I want it to tell it that it take an array as a parameter. So you can name it whatever you want to. You can name it ARR or AR1 or 10 or 20, or it doesn't matter what you name it. That's your parameter. And here, a default value I give it, it's an empty array. That's mean if the user, when I call my function here. So that's how I call my function, that's step 2. And I did not pass anything. What will be the value of AR, or what will be the value of the parameter or argument if I did pass nothing? What will be the empty array, indeed. But if I pass something, its value, it's not my empty array. No, it will be the value I am passing. That's what we call default parameter. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. Now here, what do I want to do? Well, what I want to do here in my function, I'm just gonna return the array ARR and I push. So I will add just a number, but not one. Let's add, for example, 10. So my function is a simple function. So it will take an array as a parameter, and it will just add number 10 to this array at the end of this array, then it will return me the new array. Okay, now this is just I'm telling that's the function declaration. That I'm telling JavaScript, so that's function definition or declaration or whatever you want to. So function definition, I'm just telling JavaScript that this is the function and this function will do that. Of course, now I need to pass a parameter here. So let's name my parameter. For example, I will name it ARR1. Of course, I don't have ARR1. I can just put my ARR1 here. So I can just say const ARR1. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So as you can see now, I just create my array and it's 1, 2, 3. And now here, when I call this function, I told you I need to pass an array. And now here I'm passing 1, 2, 3. And now what it will happen here, it will push 10 to this array as well. So if I log my array here before I call the function, so if I log my array, it will give me 1, 2 array. It will give me an array 1, 2, 3 like that. But here, after I call the function, if I log my array again, it will give me 1, 2, 3, and 10. Why 10? Well, simply because I am passing my array to this function and this function adding a number. And that's what we call simply a side effect. So side effect is my function here is changing my array here. Okay, so maybe when I read the code here at line 6, I say 1, 2, 3, but that's fine. I'm not realizing that I'm passing my array to a function, and this function is pushing the number, and here I am expecting my array to be 1, 2, 3, but in reality it's not 1, 2, 3, it's 1, 2, 3, 10. I didn't realize that this function is mutating, changing my array, and that's what you call side effect simply. So let's do this one, and let's go to JSTutor, which will be better actually. So let's open in JSTutor. Okay, let's do that. So if I click on this one, of course, now it will create an array, as you can see in the memory, that's fine. It will log my array, which is 1, 2, 3, that's expected, nothing new. Of course, now here it will just pass this one. So as you can see, it store my function inside a variable. And the function also is stored in the heap, okay? Because it's reference type. Now here I'm calling my function with ARR1, that means with 1, 2, 3 array. And after that, of course, my array here, it will be changed. Notice it will not create a new array, but my array, it will change. So let's click on it again. Now it's go inside the function. Notice what will do now the function. Click now it at 10. And now here, when I return my, my stuff here, and I try to log ARR1, as you can see, ARR1 changed. And click here, and as you can see, 10 being added to this array, and that's what we call side effect. So side effect, it means simply we are changing, or side effect, of course, it will be only for reference type, for arrays and object. For example, when I pass my array or object as a parameter or as an argument to a function, and I don't realize that I make some changes. When I make the changes, it will mutate, it will change my original array. Now, sometimes that's what I want to, but other times that's not what I want to. I want my original array to stay as it is. And I need to find a way, if I want to avoid side effect, I want to find a way to not change the original array. And here I need to return a new array here, or try to create a new array. That's the only way. So if I want to not change my original array, I need to create a copy from my array. So it will be a new array in the memory, and then this new array, I can modify it, but my original array, it will not be changed, it will not be affected. Is the idea clear? Yes or no? Hello?
Yes.
So that's what we call side effect, as I told you sometime. Just give me a second. Sometimes we need to avoid side effects. Sometimes it's useful. It's not about bad or not bad. It's just about what do you want. If you want your original array, you still can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So it's about, do you want your original array to be changed or not? If you want it to be not changed, not muted, that means changed. If you don't want the side effect, well, the only way here in my function, I need to make a copy of this array. But how can I make a copy of this array? So I need to make a copy, and when I make a copy, it will be a new array in the memory. So if I modify this new array in the memory, it will be changed, but my original array, it will not be changed. Is the idea clear? Let me show you what do I mean. So what I can do here, I can just say const new. So as you can see, new ARR here, I'm just creating a new array, a new AR. Of course, I can use the spread operator, and spread operator as a syntax because it's an array. I will use square bracket. If it's an object, I need to use curly brace. Huh? So dot 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 ARR, that means it will take 1, 2, 3. When I pass it, of course, at this line, when I pass ARR1 as a parameter, it will take all these 3 items from this array, and it will put it in the new array. And here I can pass the 10 to the new array. And notice here, if I log ARR1 here or here, it will not affect at all. Why? Because here I am not changing, I'm not mutating ARR1. No, I'm just making a new copy in the memory, and I'm changing the copy. So let's go again, refresh, and see what will happen. I need to open it in JSTutor to make it simple. Okay. So let's open it in JSTutor. And now you need to compare between the previous one when there is a side effect, and now when there is no side effect. Notice what will happen. So until now, the same idea. I'm creating a new array in the heap or in the memory. Then when I log it, of course, it will give me 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm just telling JavaScript this is a function, so it will create just a pointer to my function, and my function, it will be in the heap. Voila, because it's reference type. Now, when I call my function with my array 1, 2, 3, notice now what was the difference. So when I call it here, so as you can see here, the new array here, click. So it will create, as you can see, a new copy from my array. So it's not modifying the original one, ARR. It will not modify this one. No, I'm making a new copy, and this copy, as you can see, it will take all the item from my original array and create a new array in the memory. And that's the reason why I'm using spread operator, because I need to take all the item inside my array to the new array. And now, of course, if I push 10, only this copied array, it will be changed. The new array will be changed. My original array, it will not be changed. Click. And now here, if I go to log my ARR1, as you can see, it will still give me 1, 2, 3. So no side effect. Nothing is changed here. Nothing is changed. Why? Because simply when I'm passing my array, I'm making a new copy of this array in the memory, and I'm modifying this new copy. That means my original array stay as it is. And that's what we call avoiding side effect. Is the idea clear? Yes? No? No answer. That means not clear. Hello? Guys,
Yes.
with me? Is it clear or not? Maybe we can debug it to take more example. It looks like it's not clear. If it's not clear, let me know. So let's debug it and let's see here in another way. Okay. As you can see, I have, of course, two variables here, ARR1, which will be my array, and my function here, because here in my script, I have two variables. Now, when I try to execute my script here or my file, of course, ARR1, as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3. So what is the objective of this one? I'm trying, when I pass my array to my function, I don't want to change the original array. I want to avoid the side effect. Because if I did not create a copy from my array, I will change the original array, and that's not what I want to. So that's fine. If I log it, of course, it will give me 1, 2, 3. So if I go to the console.log, 1, 2, 3, it's my original array because I did nothing. Now here, it will just, in this variable here, which will be x, it will just store a function. So that's what we call function definition. We are telling JavaScript that this is a function. It will not be executed, of course. It will just create a new variable in the memory. And here, of course, it will store my function. Now, when I call my function with ARR1, which is 1, 2, 3, when I call on it, notice what will happen here. It creates a new variable here. And this new variable here, it's a new array. It's blocks, that means it's inside the function. So let's click on it. And as you can see, the new ARR, it will be, I'm copying, I'm using the spread operator to copy everything inside my old array or my original array. So I have 1, 2, 3. I need to copy everything because I'm trying to make a copy of it. And now here I'm push the number to this new array. So let's try to push it. And as you can see here, the return value is 4. So let's click. So I'm pushing it. And as you can see, my original array never changed. So if I hover over array 1 here, still I have 1, 2, 3. Is the idea clear, guys? Yes or no? Hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's okay now.
Good. That's what we call avoiding side effect. Now, that's very nice. That's very cool. But now I need to discuss something important here. How can I copy an array? Well, to copy an array here, I'm using the spread operator. So you know now why do we need a copy an array? We need to copy an array because when I try to not change, not mutate my original array to avoid side effect, I need to copy my array. That means make a copy of this one and create a new array in the memory, which is fine. That's nice. Now, to make a copy of array or an object, we have two types of copying. So here we have shallow copy and we have deep copy. Okay, so let me delete this one at all. I don't need that. Let's just see what's the difference between shallow and deep copy. Can anyone tell me what's the difference between shallow and deep copy? Anyone can tell me what's the difference between shallow and deep copy?
No.
Okay, no, good. So let me declare an object here. By the way, object and array is the same idea because both of them are reference. But with object will be a little bit more clear. Now, if I have a name, John, if I have an age, 30, if I have hobbies, that's nice. Actually, maybe I can remove this one here. I have just this object here. Now, my question for you, this object is how many level? How many level is this object?
2.
Why 2 level?
Because we have an object person, and inside this person we have name and age, but name and
Guys,
age same level.
just give me a second, guys. Just give me a second. Maintenant, les cafards. C'est quoi les cafards? Maintenant, je travaille ici. Ensuite, je dois faire la cuisine et la salle de bain. 30 secondes, maintenant. Pour les cafards. Vous parlez quelle langue? English? English. Cockroach. You know, but I don't have any cockroach. No problem. Oh my God. Okay, guys, let's go back. Sorry for that. Daria, you told me this object here is how many level? 2, right?
Yes, 2 levels.
Why 2?
Because if we want to use this object, we will use person.name or person.age. So it means that we have 2 levels, like person and name or person and age. Person is object, and inside the object we have different value.
That's okay. That's good. Any other idea? How many level do you think this object is? Agnieszka?
I agree with Daria because there are 2 keywords, name and age.
Yes, okay. Dinyando, how many level? Dinyando, are you with me?
Yeah,
How many level?
I don't know.
It's simple. Don't tell me I don't know. I don't want to hear this one. Guess.
Well,
It's 1 level actually. It's not 2.
Goldskin, is it 1 or 2?
No, of course it's 1. Because the level, Goldkin, can I type please? So as you can see, if I want to make a 2 level, I can say, for example, so we have name, we have age, and we have, let's say, address. Now address, it will be another object. And now here is 2 level. And level, that mean, so level does not mean I have 1 property or 2. No, that's not the level. The level mean, that's the level here. How many level is deep inside? So here, if I have no another object or another array inside it, it will be 1 level. But if I have an object inside an object, now it will be 2 level. And if I have another object, something like that, for example, let's say, I don't know, for example, what property we can add here? Let's say street, for example. Street, and street could be another object, which will be, for example, number of street, blah, 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 something like that, which is 6. Now, this object here, we call it 3 level deep. It's 3 level. Why? Because I have an object here inside an object inside an object. So if I have the property just like that without another array or object, we call it 1 level. If I have inside it, I have another object or array, we call it 2 level. And if inside this object we have another one, it will be 3 level. And if I have another object, and I think the idea now is clear, let's name it LBG, and it will be another object that we call it 4 level deep. Is the idea clear or not?
Yes.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
Yes.
No, but I don't have any cockroach. Besides, I'm working, so don't worry. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Okay, is the idea clear, Daria, Agnieszka?
Yes.
Yes.
So the level, that means if I have just one property like that, it's one level deep. But if I have, if I have an array or an object, another array on another object like that, we say 2 level deep. If I have another one here like that, it will be 3 level deep. If I have another one, it will be 4 level deep. Okay? Is it clear what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Perfect. That's fine. Now, if my object or my array is 1 level deep, like that, now here's 1 level, right? If I refresh this one, that's 1 level, right? Because I don't
Yes.
have decided any
Yes.
another object, or if I take an array which will just include 1, 2, 3, that's 1 level deep. If my object or my array is 1 level deep, I can use shallow copy. What do I mean by that? Well, let's try to say console. I will just declare a new variable, shallow copy. And to create shallow copy, we will learn how to do it using the spread operator, right? So we can just say dot person. Click. And now, if I go and change my shallow copy, it will not affect my original one. Or if I log the original one, I change the original one, it will not affect my shallow copy because it's fine, it's okay. So now let's try to, for example, say person dot, I have name, I have age, maybe another property. What another
Hobby.
property you have?
Hobby.
Sorry?
Hobby.
Hobbies? It's just say hobbies, yes. Hobbies. And here I will just say reading. I will not create an array. I will just say reading, for example, like that. Now, as you can see, I've changed my original object here. Here, I've changed this one. Now my shallow copy should not be changed because if it changed, that means there is side effect. They are related. I don't want that. Now what I can do here to just to show you, I can log my shallow copy and I can log my original copy and see what when I change something after I did the spread operator or I did shallow copy, there will be any changes or not. Are they still related? Because if they are still related, then we still have side effect, which will be a problem. So let's go here, let's refresh. And now here, if I run my code, as you can see here, this is my array here, name, age, which it will be my shallow copy here. So that's my shallow copy because the original one, I change it. I add another property to hobby. And now if I go to my original one, now I have a name, age, and hobby. So both of them are not connected at all. This one is just a copy, which if I change the original one, the copy will not be changed. And if I change the copy, the original one, it will not be changed. Is the idea clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. So if my object or my array is only 1 level deep, I can use shallow copy. But if it's more than 1 level deep, I cannot use shallow copy. What do I mean by that? So let's try to do it here. Let's add here now address, for example, or let's add address, it will be better. So if I add the address as another object like that, and I say city is United States, country, blah, blah, blah. And now, instead of changing here, adding hobby, I will now, of course, I make shallow copy of it. So it's the same idea. Now I will go to person. Then I will go to address. Then I will go to the city and I'm going to change it. And you remember my city, it's New York, okay? Now I will locate, for example, Brussels. No, Brussels. Well, something like that. And now let's see if my object is 2 level deep or my array. Notice I always say array and object. I want you to know that's related to the reference type. So if I change now, it's 2 level deep, as you can see, and to access this city here, I need to say person.address.city. So person.address.city, and now I'm changing the city. Now, if I log the shallow copy and the person, do you think that both of them will be changed or only the person will be changed?
Both.
Both. Why?
Because it's 2 level deep.
Yes, because it's 2 level deep. So if my array or my object is 2 level deep, I cannot use the shallow copy. Because the shallow copy, it will make me, yes, it will make me unique this item key value for the first level, but the second level, if I change anything in the original object or the copied one is the second one will be changed automatically. So let's notice what will happen. Click and let's run. Now notice what happened here. Now here, as you can see, if I go to the address, it's Brussels. But if I go to the copy one of the also changed. Yes, I mean, if I change the name here, it will not be changed here. It will not be the same. So the first level, it will make like a copy of it. They are not related. But if I have second level, as you can see, in my original array, I only change the city to Brussels, but both of them changed. Click, as you can see. Did you get the idea?
Yes.
But now, for example, if I key here and I say person dot name, for example, and the name here, it was John, and I make it Jack, it will be changed in the original object, but it will not change in the copy, because that's the first level, this is first level item. But in the second level or third level or fourth level or something like that, if I change anything in my original object, it will also be affecting or will be changing my copy. So let's hit format and save changes. And if I click again, run. So as you can see, the name is here, the original one. The original one is this one. As you can see, persons as the original one. I've changed the name to Jack, but the copy did not change. Why? Because these two items here is the first level. So first level, it copies them directly. It make a new, like a new copy of the first item. But if I go to the second item, and the second item in my original array, I only change the city. But for my copy here, it should be New York. But when I check both of them are Brussels. So in reality, I cannot use a shallow copy when I have two-level deep array or object. So what could be the solution? What could be the solution? Yes,
Deep
what could be the solution?
The deep copy.
Indeed. So I can just use a deep copy. But what the hell is deep copy? Well, now here shallow copy, it will not work with me. Okay. So I will just say const deep copy. And deep copy, I need to use this syntax. I'll explain it just now, but I need to replace this one. Otherwise, I will have a problem. So deep copy, I need to say JSON.path and JSON.stringify. So what JSON.stringify is doing, it will take my object or my array and it will convert it to string. And then after that, I am converting this string back to object or array. So why? Because this method here, it will create me a deep copy of my array or my object. And here, it doesn't matter how many level. If it's 2, 3, 10, 20, it doesn't matter. It will make a deep copy of it, and the original one and the copy, they will not be affected no matter what. For example, now I am changing the city to Brussels in my original one. So it will only change in my original one, and the copy of it, it will not change. And if I change the name or whatever deep level I change, it will not affect each other. So let's notice, click. And now if I run my code, notice here. That's the original, that's the copy one. So the city is still New York. But now if I go to the original one, the city is Brussels. The name is Jack. But here, the copy still as it is. It never changed. Is the idea clear? Do you know now why do we need shallow copy and deep copy? And when we can use shallow copy and deep copy? Yes,
Yes,
or
but Samir, please explain more the JSON because
so
this is
this
something.
syntax JSON.stringify from the name. It's just a method, built-in method in JavaScript. Okay. What it's going to do, it will take this object here, it will convert it to string. So it will be an object in form of string. And this, after that, JSON.parse, it's the opposite. It will take this object string and it will convert it back to object. But it's just like we are making it string and we are making it object again. But this method here, it will give me a new copy exactly from this array here or this object here. And it doesn't matter how many deep level, it will make a new one with all the level. Is it quite clear, Agnieszka?
Yeah.
It's just a method, building method in JavaScript, JSON.stringify. We use JSON.stringify. Why? To convert the object or the array to string. And now here, this code here, it will make it string. And JSON.parse, as you can see, it will convert this stringy object or stringy array back to array or object. But this way here, we create a deep copy from my array or my object. Don't worry, the syntax, we will repeat it again and again, and especially when you deal with API, because all the time when I send my data to the backend, it need to be in form of string. So I need to use JSON.stringify. And when I receive the data from the backend, they will be in form of string or JSON string. So I need to convert it back to object or array, and I need to use JSON.parse. Clear?
Clear.
Okay, now when do I need to use shallow copy and when do I need to use deep copy? Okay, when? So when do I need to use shallow copy? When do I need to use deep copy?
Shallow if we have only one level, and deep if we have more than one level.
Indeed. So shallow copy when we have one level object or one level array. By the way, for the array, it's the same idea here. Is in the array, I can just say const users, for example, like that. It's equal to an array. And now here inside this one, I can have an object if I want to. And inside it, another object and blah, blah, blah. Or I can have an array inside it and inside it, another array and another array. It's also possible. So I can nest as much as I want to. It's fine. So again, shallow copy, when I have one level of array or object, deep copy if I have more than one level. Now, that's the first difference between them. But what you need to understand here, if your object or array is one level, so let's say my object here, it's only one level, and I can use deep copy. But what will be the problem here? I still can use deep copy, it's fine. But what will be the problem? Can anyone tell me? So I can now here, if my object is one level, I can use shallow copy or deep copy. Both of them here, they will just create a new object or a new array. But what will be the difference between shallow copy and deep copy? What's the difference here?
The difference, we know how to use shallow and we have no idea what is JSON. So we will use option 1.
No, there is another thing related to something else. Now, when I make a shallow copy, will it be fast or it will be slow?
Faster.
Faster. And will it take a lot of memory or a little bit more memory?
Less memory.
In shallow copy, it will take a little bit memory because I have one level. But in deep copy, it's slower and it takes more memory. So if when it comes to performance, this is better performance. This is much better performance because it will be faster. So here does not cost, let's say. And here much memory, yes, much memory, let's say, much memory. Here it costs a lot more memory and it's also slower. So when I have one level object on an array, I shouldn't use deep copy. Yes, it will work, but the problem, it will take more memory and it will take more time. So it affecting the performance, and that's bad idea. So when I have one level, I should use shallow copy because shallow copy take less memory and it's faster comparing to the deep copy. But if I have multiple level here, I have no other option. I need to use the deep copy. Yes, the deep copy normally, it costs more memory and it's less in terms of speed or performance comparing to shallow copy. Is the idea clear? Do you know now is the difference between shallow copy and deep copy and when to use each of them? It should be quite clear now, right?
Yes, but Samir, if we have a object and it's a one level object, a small one, and we create the shallow copy and so on, but after that we have to add some more data for the object and it becomes finally at the end the 5 level.
In this case, you need to use deep copy. You have no other option.
So after that I need to be, because at the beginning I created the shallow copy, but after that, if the array is bigger, so then I have to create the deep copy.
But
And
Agnieszka,
delete the shallow copy?
no, Agnieszka, normally when you try to copy something, you know how many deep level it. You don't want to change it. So the idea of making a copy of this object is not to change it because I don't want to mutate it. I want to prevent side effects. So when I make a copy, I already know how many level it is.
It's a bit of planning, race. Yes.
I'm sorry?
So if you going to build the project, you plan and you know how many levels you will have in advance.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you will know in advance how many level you have. Because when now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to prevent side effects. So I'm trying to make a copy of this object. I already know how many levels this object or this array is. Okay, so it will be 1 level or 2 level. Later on, when I change it, well, I change it and I want to make a new copy, I can use deep copy then, if it's more than 1 level. So when I make a copy, I already know how many level. Because I want to make some changes to the copy because I don't want to affect the original one. But later on, if my array here changed and I want to make another copy, I will know if it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 level. Is the idea clear?
Yes.
No.
Yes, Samir. And when we are going to copy this array, it's
Yeah.
something similar to how we can use classes, or no?
No, classes are something totally different.
Totally different. Okay.
Don't worry, classes is related to object-oriented programming. It's not for now. Do not focus on the classes now. So for the classes, I'm going to explain it when we are finished with different module, because even if I explain classes now, you'll not get the idea. So the best way it will be for now for you, let me just go to the home. Do not worry, I'm going to explain classes. So when we finish with behavior strategy implementation and separation of concerns, then I can explain classes. Before that, it's not a good idea. So when I'm finished with these 2 modules, then I can explain what is a class, what is object-oriented programming, and you will understand it. Because asynchronous programming is related to something else, and component-based is and you just React is not that related. But before this module, it's not a good idea to discuss what class is, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's very clear if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, hopefully it should be clear for everyone. Now you know what's a deep copy, what's a shallow copy, when to use all of them. And remember all the time the deep copy, it costs more memory, it costs the performance. More memory, it's slower comparing to shallow copy. But in some cases, if my object or my array 2 or 3 or 4 develop and a level deep, and I want to make it a copy of it of all the property, I want to change some property, and I don't want to affect the original array or object, I need to use deep copy. Okay, let's go quickly into here. So what you need to do for today, of course, you will go back again to your lesson plan. All the time start with the lesson plan. So if you finish for loop, function array method, functional unit testing, group project, it's for next week, sabotage for next week, util function for next week, but I explained it anyway. Side effect, you need to finish it. If you finish the lesson plan, then and only then you can go back, asserting primitive and operator control flow function unit testing, ES6 module using function array method, and only multiple interaction, it will be for next week. So if you finish everything here, you can go one by one, and do not try to do the array before this one, because all of them, they are just being ordered according to what you are trying to learn, as explained before. So all the time, go to step by step. Yeah. I'm gonna stop recording, or maybe I can keep it a little bit. So let me click on this one here, and let me go to this one. Let me go to home. And in home directory, I have inside JavaScript. No, actually, it's fine. Let me just go to one of your issue. And there's one did not commit in the roll call issue. Please do. Let me take Daria, for example. It's fine. So predicting execution, you already know what it is. It just means that when I'm trying to debug my code and go line by line, I need to say, for example, before I execute this line of code, I'm going to do that. Assertion testing, you already know. A comment, you already know what's a comment. String, you know already. Let versus const, you already know. Strict comparison, you already know. Strict equality, not strict equality, you know both. Console.log, you know. Console.assert, you know. Any question about those? Any question about asserting? Okay, good. Primitive and operator, predicting truthiness, just truthiness and falseness. I explained it more than 3 times. tracing operator, that means you see what the operator is going to do. It's just like a table here. That should be simple as well. Type of is just an operator. For example, type of 1, it will give me just number or stuff like that. I'm going quickly because I explained them before that multiple times. So if you have a question, stop me. Explicit and implicit coercion. Explicit coercion, that means I'm converting from one data type to another data type using Boolean, string, and number. And remember, all of them with capital letter. We've seen that. Implicit coercion, that means, for example, when JavaScript converts a number. For example, if I open my dev tool and I said, for example, here I say true greater than false. And it gave me true actually, but I mean, that's not how it is. It doesn't work this way. I cannot use greater or equal except with numbers. So what JavaScript is going to do, it will convert true into a number. And if I convert true into a number, it will give me 1, and false if to number, it will give me 0, and 1 is greater than 0. And that's the idea. So that's implicit coercion. That means JavaScript is doing that behind the scenes. Okay, truthiness and falseness. Short circuit, I've explained it. It's with true and false. For example, here, let's say I have 1 and let's say 1 on console.log. Hi. Of course, this one, it will be executed. Why? Because simply with and, both of them need to be true. So if this is true, JavaScript is going to execute the second part to see if it's true or no. And as you can see, I have hello. I've explained the short circuit with both and or as well. Spread also ternary operator, I explained it. For example, if I say 1 is greater than 2, if it's true, it will just here console.log how true, for example, console.log. Yes. Yes. And if not, it's just like I'm asking a question. I can again console.log no, for example. And of course, now it will console.log what? What it will
No.
console.log, yes or no?
No,
Why? Is 1 is greater than 2?
because 1 is not greater than 2.
Indeed, it's so false, it will take the second part and to console.log no. So it's simple. Comparison, you already know. Template literal, you know when we put it, so it's backtick when you put anything inside a string, a variable. Arithmetic operator, plus, minus, stuff like that. Multiplication and so on. Control flow. Imperative programming, I told you, all vanilla JavaScript is imperative because I need to tell JavaScript line by line what it is doing. But when I'm using a framework, that's what's called declarative. It's just like making a sandwich. If you make your sandwich, you need to cut everything step by step. Or if you go to the restaurant and just give me sandwich, chicken sandwich, don't care about it. You care about your sandwich. Blanks, you can do that. Bugs, goal, everything, empty page, user numbers, you all know. If else, you know it. Block scope, you know it. Let and const are block scope. A functional scope here, of course, it's var. Conditional, you know. While loop, you know. For of, you know. All of them should be clear. Break and continue should be clear. Function, how to trace a function, you know that. Test, you know, already seen some test. ES6 arrow function, we've seen the arrow function. We've seen that in arrow function, we have some stuff we can do, we cannot do in another function. So if my function is one line, I can not put the body of the function, which is the curly brace. I also don't need the return statement if it's arrow function. Default parameter, it's just what we explained here. So default parameter, it will be when as a user call my function and it's expecting to pass any argument and I did not pass anything, the default parameter, it will be like that. For example, like we did in the array, I just make it equal to empty array. The call stack, I'm going to explain it next week because it's a little bit interesting and I want you to understand it really well. Variable in function, of course, when I create a variable in function, it will be scoped inside this function. We have different type of variable in function. The parameter is only known, whatever parameter is only known inside the function. And I can declare a variable inside the function. And I can have a function inside the function, and inside the inner function, I can have a variable. I'm going to explain this one call stack and this one here because they're kind of related here next week. Unit testing, which just I've explained it a few times. ES6 module, which is related to export and import. I explained it. So we have two types of export, either default export. If you use default export, you can export only one thing. And if you use name export, you can export multiple stuff. Using function, we have procedural programming that's related to programming paradigm. So we have more than 16 different paradigm for programming. The most important thing for us, it's procedural programming. That means my program is consist of function. Object-oriented programming, that means my program is consist of object. Using function, you know that, right? Function, you know that. Refactoring function, that means make it a little bit better. Reverse engineering, build function from the everything. Reference value, you know it. Deep and shallow comparison, you know that as well. And here, how to create a deep copy and shallow copy, you already know that. Side effect, we study it. Call, write, refactor, all the function here, that should be simple. Array literal, you know how to create an array. Push, you know, to add a new item in the end of the array. Pop, to remove the item in the end of the array. Shift to add a new at the beginning of the array, and shift to remove the item from the beginning of the array. Other than that, to access the array by index here. And we took a lot of stuff here. To iterate through an array, I can use for each, or I can use for loop. That should be okay. How to make a shallow copy, you already know spread operator. Function array method, we already study a lot of them. So we study every sum, map, filter, find, reduce, and yeah. I told you we call those higher order function because they take a function as a parameter. So this part here, which is multiple interaction, I'm going to explain this next week. And also, which is important here, which will be, where the hell is this? These two is important, variable in function and call stack, which I'm going to explain it in the next week. Other than that, everything should be clear, right? Yes, no?
Samir, will we have a Q&A